Welcome back to another episode of Go, Go, Grow. I'm your host, Michelle Page. I'm also the founder of Revenue Chasers. And between the two, I help small, mid-sized companies and entrepreneurs build the company of their dreams, scale it, and enjoy the reason they started their company. So hopefully I can add some value and some enjoyment to your day with what we're going to talk about in this episode. So everybody talks about generative AI and how they're going to use it in their business. The problem is they have a lot of opportunity. They don't always understand what they can do, what they should do, and maybe what they should really be aware of before they start using it. So we're going to talk a little bit about generative AI, using it for go-to-market. So welcome aboard. Let's get started. So the main thing about business, we're all in business to make money. I'm not talking about nonprofits here. I'm not talking about necessarily mission-driven businesses where the primary objective is to serve a mission or vision, and of course, raise funds to be able to fill that. But even in those cases, the goal is you need to generate revenue. So what you're looking to do and what we're looking to explore in this episode is how can we use Gen AI to increase both the top line and the bottom line. So if we want to break that down, the top line would mean to generate more money coming in. So that would be through sales, marketing, increasing revenue from current customers, things of that nature. So you're going to be looking at content and marketing avenues and things of that nature. For the bottom line, increasing that bottom line, you're talking about being more efficient and cost savings. So think about reducing the time or money it takes to complete tasks, whether it's administrative or research related or anything that would normally take a lot of man hours or time hours or just inefficient processes. So how can we use Gen AI in those worlds? So a lot of people want to use Gen AI, and they think, okay, well, I want to use it for creative reasons. I want to use it to help collaborate, get different inputs and different ideas. They have a lot of compelling reasons or needs, but a lot of times they're confused. So let's break down how it's currently being used, who's using it, and kind of where we need to spread some education and where we need to kind of squash some myths and demystify what it is that we're looking at and how we can help answer some of those questions. So I want to refer to IBM's study. It was the Institute for Business Value. And 3 points here that I want to share with you. In this study, they identified that by 2025, and I'm recording this in November of 2024, so that's right around the corner, 3 out of 4 CMOs, chief marketing officers, say that they will be using Gen AI for some sort of content creation. So it's right around the corner. If they're not already, they will be. Currently, 42% of CMOs, and I think a little bit more than that by now, because this data was earlier this year, 42% are making it a priority to scale hyper-personalization using Gen AI. So hyper-personalization means not just saying, hello, Michelle. But knowing, hello, Michelle, founder of Revenue Chasers, helping small, medium-sized businesses that are different sizes and different industries and so on and so forth, and finding out information about who I am, the needs I have, and what I'm trying to solve. So if you're talking to, or if you're targeting Bob the baker, the hyper personalization may be, we understand that the price of flour has gone up, and we know that that may be impacting your ability to deliver goods to your customers. Okay, that's hyper personalization rather than, hey, we can help you with your supply chain. So 42% of CMOs are going to increase their use of Gen AI to help with that hyper personalization. Another 64% responded that they expect to use Gen AI for content personalization within 1 to 2 years. So content meaning advertising, direct mail, emails, calls, anything that you see show up as a piece of contact, whether you're a prospect, a current customer, a former customer, any of that content they're looking to personalize using Gen AI. So definitely this is something that has a high focus by chief marketing officers. So who's currently using it in the small business world? So there was another study by American Express. So this was the Amex Trendex Small Business Edition for 2024. So this is current year data. So it looked at generational uses of generative AI. So how are the different generations using it? What's the adoption, and where are there areas of opportunity and whatnot? So 59% of millennials and Gen Z are currently using Gen AI in their business in some capacity. You would kind of expect that given those generations. Just 34%, so 25% less of Gen X and baby boomers are using Gen AI. So there's definitely a gap there in adoption. But here's the interesting part. So if you're thinking about, okay, how can I, as a business owner, as a founder, how can I use Gen AI? Maybe it's a comfort level. You're not quite sure what you feel comfortable, how you feel comfortable leveraging Gen AI. The younger generations are primarily using it to automate tasks. So these are more for efficiency and operations. So things like cash flow analysis and running automation of that sort. It's the older generations, those Gen X's and baby boomers, that are using it for things like chatbots and virtual assistants and fraud detections and workflow management and things that are a little bit more advanced, a little bit proactive, to kind of leverage the intelligence part of that. So I thought that was really intriguing that the boomers and Gen X seems like they're more hesitant to use it, but they're more risk tolerant in the way they leverage it. So if you ask why don't the ones who don't use it, why haven't they adopted it? This is what's telling, and this is why I was motivated to share this episode with you. So 30% just feel it wouldn't be helpful. So they don't see a use case. Another 28% don't trust it. Now, some of that could be from not understanding it. Some of that could be, I understand it, and that's why I don't trust it. But education is probably going to be helpful for a lot of that, 28%. And then 26% say, well, I don't understand it. That's why I don't use it. So if you are in any of those groups that don't use it. I hope that I can kind of break down some of the information that you'll find helpful. If you choose to use it, maybe you'll have some use cases here. If you still don't trust it, that is something that you may want to talk to somebody who really specializes in Gen AI and see if it does have applications for you. I am not an expert in the Gen AI. I am the expert in go-to-market. So I can enlighten, but I cannot throw a floodlight on it. So let's talk about some of the misconceptions. And I will tell you, I am Gen X. So I am in one of those higher categories. And when Gen AI first became prevalent and people were using it, oh, I'm going to have it do all my creative, a little part of my sales and marketing soul died. And I didn't trust it. I didn't want to learn about it. I just said no. The more I learn about it and educate myself, self-educate and watch and learn, and I see what I'm comfortable with using it for myself and recommending clients to use. We all have that spot where we have the comfort and we see the value. So you may have misconceptions. Some people think, well, gosh, Gen AI it's all knowing. You can say, serve me up this information. And, wizard is back there behind the curtain and they're going to, pull information out from behind that curtain. Yes, madam, this is what you were looking for. That's not the case. You need to be really specific about what you're looking for. And you need to wonder, how accurate is it? So you need to get really deliberate when you're asking for information and understand why you need the information. Get specific about what you ask for, how you confirm the data, and what the original source of that data was. Another misconception is, oh, well, it's like looking at a crystal ball into the future. Nothing in this world is a crystal ball into the future. Ask anybody that invests in the stock market that. So it will give you information that you can use for decision making if you pull the right information with really strong prompts. But these are all misconceptions. So you have to really get to know Gen AI, and you need to let Gen AI get to know you. So that sounds a little crazy, but it makes sense. We'll talk about that regarding prompts. So what types of things can you use it for? So let's start with the easy stuff. Let's talk about some of those administrative things, some of the research things, data-driven opportunities to really leverage the power of Gen AI. The thing I love most is research, finding data, educating myself. If I'm trying to understand a topic that I'm maybe not familiar with, an industry that I have a passing knowledge of, but I really want to get a good understanding, a different perspective of, a synopsis of the history. Okay, well, how did that evolve? Who are the key players? The great thing about Gen AI is you can start with a broad question, and then you can drill down and refine and refine and refine. The tool I like to use, again, this is personal preference. There's dozens of them out there. The one I've found works well for me is Copilot. It was Microsoft Bing. It's now being rebranded to Copilot. But I find the information that it shares is pretty spot on in terms of accuracy. And when I've tried to validate it, I've had good success. But it will lead the questions. And when I ask, tell me about this, it will give a good long answer and then say, would you like to know about this? Or would you like me to continue telling you about that? And it is a little bit conversational to help lead me as I'm educating myself. Again, I use it primarily for research in that area. If you are looking to understand trends, your customers, your competitors, the industry, learning about products, Gen AI is great for that. Absolutely fantastic. Keep in mind, here's a pitfall, something to watch out for. The accuracy of the information is something that probably gets you in the right ballpark. But if you're relying on this for data decisions or for reporting, you're going to want to verify and confirm the original source of data. So why do I say that? If you're using AI, okay, skip AI for a moment. If you Google something, search engine that's widely used. If you Google something and someone wrote an article somewhere in some local magazine or local newspaper and it had completely incorrect information. Cleveland Browns win the Super Bowl. All right. I'm a Browns fan. Browns have never been to the Super Bowl. Let me tell you that. But if that's what it said in an online source and you Googled and dug far enough, you may find a source that says, if you say, when did the Browns win the Super Bowl? Something may tell you, hey, the team won it this year. Okay, that's unverified. In fact, it's flat out false. Gen AI may share that as fact when in reality it is not fact. However, it's open source. It is not verified. And you have to double, triple check and go back to the original source data if you want to be absolutely certain. If you're looking for information like census numbers, if you're wanting information like industry revenue or market share or something like that, I would highly encourage you to make sure that when you get that information through your Gen AI source, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT or Copilot, verify. Make sure that the original source document is a valid document. So let's go on to, kind of an adjacent topic. When you're looking to aggregate a lot of data and do some analysis on that, Gen AI is a great application for that because it would take you forever to go to 100 different websites if you're looking for very detailed information about MSAs or county level data or something of that nature for the entire US or global information. So using Gen AI for something like that to do research, to gather data, and then aggregate, analyze, so on and so forth. Wonderful application. Time-saving, administrative, great way to affect the bottom line. You reduce expense, you increase efficiencies. If you kind of flip and you want to go to the top line, how you can increase your top line. Think about the sales, marketing, customer success, revenue ecosystem. That's when you need to think about, okay, well, how can I reach prospects, current customers, former customers, things of that nature? Well, it's generally through some sort of content or some sort of touch. So if you're looking for whether it's idea generation, image generation, text generation, Gen AI is a great way as part of your go-to-market to ideate and come up with that kind of baseline. Oh, this is somewhere we want to go with this. This is going to be a great way to kind of ideate what kind of value props that we want to put as part of our marketing campaign. Please don't have Gen AI write your contact, and go to market with it. Please don't do that. You need to make sure that it's accurate, that it speaks your brand voice, that it is targeted appropriately with the right tone to who you're trying to talk to. If you are sending a marketing piece to the CEO versus an office manager versus the head of manufacturing, you're probably going to want to have a different message for each one because they care about different things. They may care about your solution in a different way, and you may speak to them in a different tone. So these things, Gen AI, unless you're putting so much time and effort into your prompts, it's going to give you a baseline that you then need to apply to your outreach. Please have a word of caution there. Anything more than ideation, unless you are very, very skilled in the sales and marketing realm, you could do more harm than good. Think about when you were in school. If you wrote a paper and turned something into your teacher, your professor, whoever the case may be, and it was plagiarized, if your professor knew that it was plagiarized, your customer is going to know that what you wrote is AI. It's very obvious. So if you're going to use AI to help you ideate, you need to make it your own. You need to personalize it to them. You need to personalize it to your brand, to your tone, and to your company value. Please. Okay, so anything that is customer facing, really, you cannot give up that authenticity. That is why you have that relationship. And if you're just building that relationship and you try to build it on something that is inauthentic, it is not going to be your lasting relationship. So I cannot stress that enough. Here's another key part. When we're talking about anytime you're using chat GPTs, the Claudes, the Copilots, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. When you're talking about open source, that means that the Gen AI is learning based on what everybody's inputting. So you're basically training the model based on what you're asking it, the data you're putting in it, and the data that's giving back out to you. So when you put in a prompt, me understand this, or tell me about that, or pull this data, and then you ask a follow-up question and a follow-up question and give follow-up guidance, it is learning what you're asking so that when the next person asks something, it can respond with what it's learned. So it's trained. Do not expect any privacy whatsoever in open source. So it's kind of a social contract. You're using it for free. It's giving you information. It's giving you value for free. And you're giving up any expectation of privacy for that kind of that line in the sand. Where is your comfort level that you're going to use this and not maintain your privacy of data, your privacy of what you asked for, and anything that the internet bots are watching. So if you're looking for that privacy, you want to consider a paid source. So go to the paid levels. If you're looking to generate images or any of that type of content, one of my favorites is Canva. So the paid version, yes, you're paying for the subscription, you're paying for the model, and that information, whatever you create, is yours. You do have that privacy. If I were to use one of the open source models to generate images and to ideate that type of output, I would not be able to call that my own. I would not be able to trademark it. In fact, some of what you do in Canva, if you use their elements and whatnot, it would not be trademarkable either. Again, I'm not an attorney, but this is what I've been advised. So when you're using AI, these are all questions that I would definitely consult with an expert in that area so that you understand what the opportunities are, what the limitations are. This episode is simply designed to be kind of a primer and an educational tool to share insight into some things that you may not be aware of and to kind of prompt some of those questions in your mind. So let's talk about prompts. So I mentioned that the information you get sometimes is not so accurate. And it's incumbent upon you, if you want to get good quality output, you've got to give it good quality inputs. So if you ask it, give me a list of all the cars that were manufactured by Ford since the Model T, that's pretty broad. Now, if you say, give me every two-door coupe that was available in the color red and had a sunroof, you're getting a little bit more specific, and you can very much whittle down to exactly what it is you're looking for. So I know that was kind of an odd example. My husband he's a car guy. But when you get your output, put in the prompt that you think is going to give you what you want. See what that output is, and then say, okay, well, there's some stuff in here that's not really what I'm looking for, and it's not giving me this that I really think I need. Okay, so you go in and you change up your prompts a little bit. So you kind of whittle it down, you add this, and kind of refine what it is you're looking for. So that's one of the ways that you learn Gen AI and Gen AI learns you. One of the great things about selecting one platform is you really get to know its nuances, and you can give it personas and kind of characters and say, okay, well, this persona, I want you to use this type of a tone. It's a casual tone. And, you're coming from this role in this type of company, and you're going to be talking to this type of person. And that way you can start off on the right foot. It can get to know what you're looking for because you've already kind of pre-programmed the prompts. And every time you go in under that persona, it's going to give through that lens what you're looking for. So that's something, again, you're either going to want to pull in somebody to give you a little bit more in-depth lesson, or you're going to want to dig into self-education a little bit more. But again, this episode is really to just kind of open the doors of knowledge and say, okay, well, I wasn't really open to using Gen AI in my go-to-market strategy. Sounds like something I might want to consider. Or, gosh, I was going to use it to write all of my marketing materials, and now, gosh, I don't think that's a good idea. So hopefully that's going to help in that area. The other big thing I want to tackle, many newer entrepreneurs, especially those that have not gone through a lot of strategic planning sessions, they may have a goal of what it is, like an end goal, a vague, okay, I want to sell this product or service, and I think my customer is going to be this profile. Hey, Copilot, help me come up with a strategy for how I can grow my business. Two things to think about here. First of all, no one knows your business, your product, your service you, your capabilities, your market, your preferences, your goals, what you do want, what you don't want, what you can do, what you can't do. Nobody knows all that better than you. So when it comes to designing a strategy, you need to be in the driver's seat. Now, you can ask it to give you some options, some ideas, and then drill down with expanded prompts to explore some of those ideas. But in the end, it's a matter of you're going to need to kind of look at all your options and say, okay, I think this is the one I want to pursue. Drill down on that. And again, you can always engage a coach, a mentor, SBA, any of those types of resources, SCORE. There's plenty of resources available that somebody can kind of say, you know what, I think you're on the right track here. Or you might want to, engage a coach or someone to just assess that this is going to get you where you want to be, or at least get you headed down the right path. The other situation, as far as using it for strategy, and this is a big, big cautionary flag. If you use it for strategy, let's say you want to have a consulting business and you want to have a life coaching business. Everyone else out there that wants to have a life coaching business, who has access to Gen AI, can have the same strategy using the same source, and you're going to have no differentiators whatsoever. None. Probably a more applicable example is everybody out there is thinking, okay, well, what's the next great app? If you have an idea for an app, you may say, okay, great, I'm going to do this. Hey, Gen AI, what strategy can I use to get this out there and to market it? If somebody else has the same or similar idea and they go to Gen AI to say the same thing, hey, what's my strategy for getting it out there and marketing it? Again, they could use the same exact one. It's generic. It doesn't represent you. It doesn't represent your goals. It doesn't represent the unique value proposition of your business. So don't think of Gen AI as a substitute for the mental and emotional heavy lifting that you have to do. It's a tool, pure and simple a tool. So whenever you use it, you always want to proof it, reproof it, triple proof it, and then look back at it and say, okay, am I satisfied? And then make a decision whether or not you want to move forward, whether it's an idea, an image, data, analysis, doesn't matter. Powerful tool. Definitely can help you increase revenues. It can help you reduce expenses and reduce administrative time and expense. But there's always a grain of salt. Be aware of that grain of salt. And if you're using it for go-to-market, just know that authenticity is the key to relationships. Selling is key to relationships. Business is based on relationships. So don't lose that authenticity. And that is what's going to help you go, grow. So I hope I helped open up a few windows into Gen AI for you when you're using it for your go-to-market. If you were in one of those three categories, the 30% who just doesn't think it would be helpful, the 28% who just doesn't trust it, or the 26% who simply doesn't understand it, hopefully I was able to lower a few of those by some percentage points. If there's anything that I can do to help answer questions or put you in touch with resources, I do know quite a few experts in this area that can answer questions for you. In fact, I will refer you back to the episode where I had my guest expert was Ariana Smetana. And that was actually just a few episodes ago. It was on digital transformation. She is very, very knowledgeable about AI. So she would be a great resource, and I can put that episode in the show notes as well. So I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you will look at some of the past episodes of Go Go Grow while you're on YouTube or whichever outlet you may be on. Check out the Revenue Chasers page as well. There are some great episodes there where I was a guest on other people's podcasts, as well as some panels, and that will certainly help in your search for education, resources, and knowledge while you go grow. See you soon.